All right, Die Hard Arcade. This one is an interesting game because apparently it really wasn't Die Hard. It was another game. Let me make sure my focus is good because I did zoom in. All right, now my focus is nailed. So if it's a little sharper, that's why. So, you know, these games always advertised other games because the internet wasn't really a thing back then, you know. So they had to advertise every chance they got, they would advertise other games. So, but yeah, I really like Die Hard Arcade. It's basically your final fight type of game. You know, save the damsel in distress, that type of deal. And there's the back. Neat. You know, the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation were, you know, they were the first 3D consoles back in the day. This was one of my first games. So it's Sega Sports, NHL All-Star Hockey, and see the back of it. The colors, I don't know if the colors are fading or just this is what it looked like back then. It might just be that the screenshots, you know, they didn't have like what we have these days, like where we can get perfect screenshots of everything. Like, you know, what's this say? Marv Albert commentary. That's funny. And here's the disc. It's shaped like a puck on the inside. Oops. And then I got World Soccer as well. So Sega Sports, yeah, they used to make games, and EA Sports basically. Whoa! Look how big this manual is. Holy crap! How many pages in this thing? Look, it's 48. The manual's 48 plus. It's like 54 pages long. Wow. That doesn't happen anymore. Everything is digital manuals. Okay, next. Panzer Dragoon. I thought I had the upgraded version of this for some reason. The sequel. But I have the original. No doubt about it. There it is right there. And so there you go. Oops. Making sure you guys can see that. And Daytona USA is advertised on the back. Here's the back of the actual case. So cool stuff. 3 Dirty Dwarves. Look at this game. A lot of people don't know about this game because it was never franchised. It was just like a one-off. So let's see what's on the inside now. What is this Sega Soft number? I'll have to look that up. Oh, here's a game I haven't seen in a while. Scud. Very curious to see what's in the manual. So this is why I bought a third controller. And the multi-tap. Actually, I bought the multi-tap for the sports games and this one. I did play 3-player a few times, but you know, my friends didn't have Sega Saturn. They only had a lot of them, you know, they still had Super Nintendos and Sega Genesis. I had like maybe 1 or 2 friends with a PlayStation, but that's it. So I was the only person I knew with a Sega Saturn. They didn't sell that many Sega Saturns. Not in the United States, at least. But I like the system. That's why my parents over the years, they would ask, you know, what do you want to sell? I sold the Nintendo 64. I sold the Super Nintendo. And I ended up keeping the Sega Saturn, keeping the NES, also the PlayStation 2. But I did buy the PlayStation 2 with my own money, so that wasn't really their decision. But I really, oh no, it broke, or it's been broke. That's a shame. Okay. Well, this is Ultimate MK3, which I still remember the first day I got this. This was a pre-order game as well. Wow, look, it doesn't even take up the whole disc. So this was a pre-order game, and the day I got it, I held it out the window of a moving car. Now, I held it like... I still remember this because my mom yelled at me, like, what are you doing? I held it. Now, I had a smaller finger, so... you know, so I had a good grip on it, but yeah, that was dumb. Why did I hold it like that? That doesn't make any sense, but, you know, whatever. And these games, you know, they're same price as games these days when they're brand new, $60. So you're holding $60 out of the window, you idiot. All right, I'll fix this off screen, but I'll show you the back of this right here. Yeah, this is definitely one of the best fighting games that ever came out for the system besides the 3D ones. But yeah, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Very cool. Okay, Tomb Raider. Like I said earlier, Sony cut a deal with Eidos. Were they called Eidos Interactive? Yeah, okay, Interactive is really small in the print. So Eidos was cut a deal with Sony, and this was the only Tomb Raider game ever released on Sega Saturn. The original. And they sold a bunch of copies of this game, for sure. You know, and Tomb Raider ended up being a big franchise. They were releasing like one game a year at one point, and they're still releasing Tomb Raiders. You know, it really did become like a Mario. And of course, the early criticism was, her boobs are too big. And it's like, okay, who cares? So she's got big boobs. You know, they're appealing to the intended audience, which is young boys. And you know, are they unrealistic? Yeah, most women don't have boobs that big, but I have seen some girls who do have tiny waist and big natural breasts, so I wouldn't really call it unnatural per se. It would just be unusual. And it looks like I actually kept this game in pretty good condition. There's a fingerprint on there, but not many scratches. Cool. That's definitely one I'd like to play. Although I did just buy the remake of this on PC like about a month ago. So maybe I don't want to play it because it's so old. But yeah, anyway. On to the next game. Virtua Cop 2. I'd like to know why Virtua Cop 1 doesn't have a case like this. But anyway, there you go. And let's try to open it without breaking it. Cool. They're advertising Virtual On, which I played in the arcades a lot, but wasn't really a big fan of it. So there's the manual. And yeah, you can use regular controllers, but there's nothing like using one of these, which I'll open later. But yeah, there's nothing like using the light gun for a game like this. And Virtua Cop 2 is by far the better of the games. Virtua Cop 1 was fine, but you know, it's like what Virtua Fighter 1 was, a good test bed and a good first 3D game, but you know, the sequel's just better graphically and better overall level design. Okay. So yeah, I was a big fighting game fan back in the day, and there's Mortal Kombat 2, which, from what I read, well, number one, it was very odd for them to release this game basically, I don't know when this version came out. Let's look. 1995. Okay. So I think Mortal Kombat 2, well, it was released on the SNES and the Genesis, but I don't know. To me, it was weird they would release a game that was basically 2 years old at this point, and I mean, whatever. The bottom line is, from what I read, this is the best version at the time that you could buy, the best home version of this game. And the only problem is when you would go to do a fatality or a special attack, the game would load. I'm not kidding. The game would take like a half second to a second to load. It's so weird. Now, after you did the special attack the first time, it wouldn't do it again. But it's like, why not just load all that stuff up to begin with? So yeah, loading times killed this game. And they didn't make that same mistake with Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, luckily.